What's good, people? Our main topic in this week's episode includes some triggering themes, such as indecent exposure, sexual abuse, and rape. This may be traumatic for some, so please watch with caution. We have set out the relevant segments in the description. Thank you. Wagwan peeps, it's Venom, what you saying? Alongside my home slice, Dammy to the Zane. When she and I get together on the poddy, ask anybody, the vibes are insane.
Join our family and feel free to come by. We on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yeah.
New drop on the way every Monday at 6.
Tune in and come see what we unpick.
What's good, people? It's your home slice, Dammy Zane, in the building with, I like Toby.
Toby get introduced before me, you know?
And of course,
Monty.
my co-host, the best co-host in the world. Best co-host in the world. Couldn't ask for another or anyone better, Mr.
Jeez.
Venom.
Thank you very much. I'm in
Hey.
the building.
Hey,
Throw your V's up.
come on now. We got a good show for you today, guys. We will be covering the Wood of the West documentary mainly, as well as we're going to be giving you some hot topics as normal, and also we're going to be discussing another Marvel movie that will be coming out soon. Hint, hint. Wakanda Forever. And of course, before we do that, as usual, we start off with a game, and so we're going to go on to that. It will be this or that as usual, obviously. I'm in a hot seat this time with the help of Toby.
Toby.
It's going to be whispering the answers to me. Get me? So yeah, Venom, take it away.
Boom. So this week, keeping it nice and simple. Scenario's easy because the scenario's real. Very real. Very simple.
It's
So,
real? Okay.
It's
Oh,
real.
Oh, Lord.
Me and the wife here like, oh, vibes. Why don't we have like a movie night with Dammy?
Mm.
So like, okay, cool. So what would Dammy want to watch? Sorry, this is in reverse order as well. So we're going to host you 3 times. This is what you're going to watch the 3rd time.
Okay.
And then I'll ask you what we're watching the 2nd time. And then I'll ask you what we're watching the 1st time.
I have to make it so complicated.
You'll understand.
Okay.
Cool. So the 3rd time we have you around,
Yeah.
are we going to be watching The Labyrinth
Yeah.
or The Never-Ending Story?
See, I don't know either of those movies. Don't judge me. So I'm just going to pick one out of the sky, and I'm going to
Go
go
on.
with The Never-Ending Story because Labyrinth sounds scary. So
Mad. I mean, anyway, yeah, they're awesome films. If you don't know, get to know. Anyway, so we're going to host you a 2nd time.
Yeah.
That was the 3rd time. This is the 2nd time.
yeah.
Do you watch Terminator 2 or The Candyman?
Terminator 2.
Terminator 2 is actually scary as well.
I can handle Terminator 2
Okay.
Yeah. because I've seen
Well, the first time that we host you, which I'll send you the date when we come off air, the wife and I decided that we're going to watch something a bit more serious,
it. Okay.
but Dammy still gets to choose.
Okay.
Is it The Poltergeist or The Exorcist?
For the first time in this or that history, none of
Hell
them.
no.
No, I'm joking.
Hell no, you got to pick one.
Ah,
Boy.
Crap.
And we're watching it. Deep it.
You can tell me that we're watching it all you want.
We're
I can not
100%
turn up.
watching it.
It's fine. What were the
I know where
options
you live.
again?
The Poltergeist
Yeah.
or The Exorcist?
The Exorcist.
You went with The Exorcist. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I've seen it.
No problemo. Huh? What? Because you seen it.
Huh? What you say?
You said you seen it.
Huh? Huh? Huh?
It's no problem. It's no problem. You know, certain times you watch films, yeah, and it's fine that time. But then the other time.
All I'm going to say is, so long as you and wifey are ready to have a guest sleepover, let's do this.
I'm going to film the audio so we can hear the screams, boy. Sample them. I'll put them in my next track.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's mean.
It's
You
not
see-
mean.
And you see why I went and introduced Toby first, because Toby shows me love. Look at what I'm dealing with.
What are you talking about? How's that mean? I just put 3 movie nights in the diary.
for when you know that I don't like horror movies.
Before just
Make it make
now,
sense. You know I don't
before
like.
just now, you had no movie nights in the diary. Now you have 3.
Anyway,
Exactly.
Let's move on.
Exactly.
Let's move on to what's hot. So, guys, yeah, obviously you've heard me say it here first that I don't like horror movies. So the fact that Venom is trying to make me endure as such shows you the kind of person that he is, and that's all I'm gonna
Nope.
say. That's all I'm gonna say. Toby's in his pen, so you're probably gonna hear him whining because he wants me to carry him, but you lot come first in this moment in time. So sorry, baby. Have you seen the Black Panther?
Chickadee trailer.
Yes. Have you seen it?
I have indeed. I only watched it once. I didn't watch it like fully trying to digest everything that was in the video, but it had a little moment on my phone and I was very happy with what I saw.
Yeah.
Did you have any takeaways from the trailer or anything that you noticed or didn't notice?
Yeah, people were trying to have conversation with me about it. Like, oh yeah, what are your thoughts? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to have any perceptions of this. I just want to go and enjoy it. I did note though that they didn't show Black Panther until the end. Bruh.
And they didn't show him properly either, did they?
No, they didn't. They literally showed like, I think from the back and like
like a hand
and a leg, and it's looking hella feminine. So I'm guessing it's either going to be Lupita or somebody like a woman taking over sort of thing. But
I think it's
But the trailer's showing enough action for me. It's showing enough storyline for me to get excited. So
yeah, I'm definitely excited. But I couldn't really tell from the trailer.
Yeah.
But then I think it was you that sent me a link of the trailer from Twitter or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that picture or link, the picture of Black Panther, I was like, oh, that looks feminized.
Yeah.
The mask and stuff, and I was like, that must be a woman.
Yeah.
And then it must be Lupita, because I don't think they're gonna introduce a new character to play Black Panther. That I do not think is happening.
Hold on a second, I've just figured out how he did it.
How he escaped.
I'm watching him escape right now.
So if you didn't know, Toby is an escape artist. She bought a pen for him.
I bought him a crate.
Exit the pen.
And I was editing the last episode, right? And he was doing his AKA, get me out of here. I want you to carry me. And I was like, bruh, I'm busy. Like, you've got toys in the pen, do your thing. Next thing you know, I just hear this, the feet. Man was zoomies up and down the flat, yeah? I'm like, how did you get out? Now, I'm there chasing after him, trying to catch him. Obviously, he's tiny and he's got short legs, but man is fast. And I'm like, how am I going to catch this dog? Oh my Lord, I've just seen how he did it.
And the thing is, this dog isn't going to get any bigger.
He squeezed himself through the...
So he's always going to be able to leave this pen. Do you know how many times I've seen people buy dog pen or some kind of animal container and the animal can easily exit this container?
The way this dog jumped, he jumped, got his head through and his body through the thing. And obviously, I've put it right by my legs in it so that he's as close to me as possible. And my guy's doing bus case. Toby.
Man did fresh home, boy.
Look how innocent he looks. Guys, he's not innocent. He's not innocent. This dog is naughty.
He's innocent.
He met Venom once and he changed.
Yeah,
I
met Toby this weekend, yeah. She put him on the table beside me and she left. And he was calm. We were talking. We got well acquainted. I was like, you know what? You're my kind of guy. I'm not going to lie.
Nah, he was calm. Ever since he met Venom, things changed. I don't know. I left them together for 5 minutes. I don't know what Venom said to Toby.
That's what I said. Unleash your true nature, bruv.
This Toby has been moving mad. Moving mad. Moving mad. I don't know. I just seen his body, half his body come out of the thing now. I'm like, wait a second. Anyway, I guess he's on my lap for the rest of the show. Sorry, guys.
Mm.
But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I'm excited. We should definitely do like a watch party for it, I feel.
Yep, coming out on the 11th of the 11th,
11th
22.
of the 11th. Yep. So we'll have to do something for it. Absolutely. I'm so excited. Am I going to wear African attire for this one or the Woman King? Who knows?
I'm gonna wear for both. I might even wear the same. I don't care.
Thing.
They just need to just know that
Should we do
Oga
like
has arrived.
Like an unpicked? Nah, that's a lot.
Well, unpicked print and then make.
Yeah, unpicked. I should be like, like come through with the. Nah,
You know what? Yeah,
that's too
man's gonna
much.
look into it, see how much it costs, innit? If I can get a nice print on the fabric,
if the price is right, we can do it.
Get me?
It can end up being merch. Can you imagine?
Higher or lower, making full agbada for.
Come on.
Wow.
For the culture. Do you know what I mean? For culture.
Yeah, that is a lot.
There's enough time to do it as well.
There is.
But yeah, guys, watch this space. We will be watching it together. And it might be a together thing, like you guys come with us. And of course, we're going to talk about it near the time. But we just wanted to let you guys know that it's there. And if you haven't seen it, check it out.
So in our hot topics for this week, man like Chris Breezy on his, promo album, whatever you want to call it, he decided to do a meet and greet with the fans. And I haven't seen a meet and greet for a while that's, made a social impact. But he decided to charge his fans $1,000 and they really going to meet him and he's really going to greet them.
A real greeting.
And yeah, boy, it looked like something. There's a lot of pictures. I think the main thing that everyone's talking about is the pictures. And there's pictures.
He basically pimped himself out, is what I'm gonna say, because in those pictures, man was really doing lover boy. Like, you would have thought he was every single one of those girls' boyfriend, the way he was holding them in the pictures. Grabbing them up, they're smiling, cheesing, giving, you know what I mean? He was really giving boyfriend energy, like giving PDA.
Giving prom date.
Yeah, giving PDA prom date. So I guess he was trying to make sure the £1,000 made sense. It still doesn't make sense to me. I don't care. Like,
oh, you don't think it makes sense?
No, I wouldn't pay £1,000 for him to grips me.
No, I get that. But like
what else was on offer?
I mean, I'm pretty sure you would have done like an album signing, or you probably got like a copy of the album signed.
Okay.
And then got to chat to him maybe for 10 minutes and a hug.
That it?
And the pictures.
Nah.
Probably.
Nah.
So Beyonce does a meet and greet, £1,000, same thing.
Nah.
Not doing it.
Nah, not £1,000.
Damn.
You need to give me more. It needs to be, part of that £1,000 is tickets to the show, front row or VIP seating, meet her backstage, access to the after party. It's got to be more, man. For £1,000, it's got to be more. It can't just be a 10-minute chat. You signed a CD that I probably bought anyway that you need to give me for free, and then you're gonna hug me, and that's it. Just a hug. If this is how man are getting money, I need to get my name out there so that people can, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. We can do the unpicked
£1,000, hug Dammy for £1,000. Do you know what? 500. I won't even do £1,500. That's in this economy. Yeah. To hug the Dammy Zayn, the Dammy Zayn. Oi. Come on.
And get to take all them posing pictures. And they're going to have a good photographer as well. It's not iPhone business. It's photographer business.
And you can proper hug
me.
You can proper hug me. That's it. Just a hug, though. Don't get excited.
Shit.
But, yeah.
So you're not doing... So what... You're not a massive Chris Brown fan, though. What artist-wise, who's your number one? But who's your number one artist right now?
But you know how much I love Drake.
Okay, so Drake. So how much is the acceptable amount for that? For basically what you know of for Drake.
For what Chris Brown offered. Yeah. So sign the CD, 10 minutes, and a cuddle.
Yeah.
Maybe 250.
So 270? Hell no.
Nah. I'm telling you, it's not good enough. You need to be telling me I'm giving you access to my concert as part of the price. You're going to get really good seats.
Yeah, but concert tickets could go
backstage.
for about 180 at the
But
O2,
that's what
like
I'm saying. For me
good
to pay
seats.
£1,000, you need to be throwing in concert ticket, VIP, VIP experience, backstage, um, after party, as well as signing my CD, giving me a cuddle, maybe a kiss on the cheek, and a
Hmm.
photograph. That's my deal.
Boy,
That's what I'm
boy.
negotiating.
I
If
mean,
I ain't
don't want
getting
too
that,
much.
I'm not asking for too much for £1,000. £1,000.
Yeah, it's a big £1,000, yeah.
Yes, I'm not asking for too much, and I'm sure he can do that. So
Hmm.
yeah, but for just what Chris Brown offered, 250 is my max, and even that is
Damn.
kind of steep. I'm not gonna lie.
Damn. Breezy ain't got the effect on you, boy. I
No,
thought it was you know what? I thought it was hilarious. Like looking at the pictures, I am absolutely dying, like in hysterics. But I do think it's a good price point because it's not for everybody, and it's engineered in a way that I agree. Yeah, everybody ain't gonna pay no £1,000 to do that. But if you are a fan, I think £1,000 is steep but accessible, and then you get to spend quality time with, you know what I mean, that person that you're a fan of. I'm not crazy like that
it's
about
still
any
not worth one thousand
artist.
dollars. It's still not worth $1,000 in this economy.
I kind of think it is, man. Like
Who's your top artist right now?
that's the thing. I don't fan of no art. Like my artists, like my top artists are not, probably wouldn't be. I'd say Chris Brown, even
Okay,
though I'm
if
not the
MJ was
biggest.
still
He's a
alive,
superstar.
Kanye West.
Yeah,
Kanye
yeah, yeah.
West.
Kanye West.
Right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, for sure.
Let's say Kanye West was offering something like that. Obviously, you're not gonna be hugging man like that. I don't think.
No, I'm hugging him.
But if you hug him, cool. £1,000. Would you do it?
No. But that's not what I like about Kanye. Like people like Chris Brown because they find him attractive or they want to be in his presence
I think Chris
in
Brown
that
is
way.
somewhat attractive. He's not my spec. He's not my type. But I can see
Mhm.
the attraction in him. Yet I still would not spend £1,000, dollars, euros, maybe a
Yeah,
thousand nairas.
yeah, I'm mad. But I would spend that money to be in a room with Kanye or to be in a room with Pharrell on
Mhm.
on like a business
Or like
thing,
a mentorship thing.
on a mentorship
Yeah,
thing, on
that
a
would make
business
sense, but
flex,
not, but
something
not,
like
but
that.
not. You talk to me maybe 10 minutes because there's a queue. Maybe 10 minutes. I sign a CD
Hmm.
and I give you a hug, especially when when the album is MIDI as well. Forget it, man. I don't care how sexy you
Damn.
are. I'm sorry, it's not enough. It's not worth the £1,000. I
Damn.
can literally just get pictures of you. I can look at pictures of you on the internet.
Yeah, but none of them have Dami Zayn in the frame.
That's okay. Photoshop is real.
Wow. Damn. Well, that is that on that.
Well, that is that on that.
Dami
That is
to
that.
the Zayn. Yeah.
Zayn.
She ain't here for it, Chris.
Nope.
So you need to buck up your ideas and come with a better deal next
Come on.
time.
What the hell? Oh, yeah. So something else that's happened recently is there is a TikToker, Miss Rita B, here in the UK. Love her. I follow her. Really lovely girl. And she posted a TikTok that went viral and had a lot of traction on the international internet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna play it here now.
Guy just came up to me, yeah, and the first thing he said to me is that, look, I know I don't have enough money to ask for your number, but I'm gonna ask anyway. And I was like, Omo, I've got a boyfriend. I've got a boyfriend because the first mistake you made was telling me that you ain't got money. Instead of you to trick me and pretend that you've got money, you told me from the beginning, you chose honesty. And for that reason, it's a no from me. It's a no from me.
So, Venom, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm conflicted,
Go on.
as
Let's
you
go.
can
Let's
imagine.
unpick this. Let's unpick this.
I'm conflicted because I guess from the off, he shouldn't have objectified her in that way whereby his financial standings was the basis of him being able to talk to her or not. I think if he liked her, he should have spoken to her and just seen where it went. And then I'm also conflicted at the fact that he was honest, and for that reason, she rejected him.
See,
very
okay. So
techie.
I was conflicted for different reasons. So for me, yeah, absolutely. I don't have any qualms with him telling her that he's got no peas, because that is his reality, and he was very honest about that. And I commend him for his honesty. I also don't think there's anything wrong with her saying that she doesn't want to go on a date with him because he has no money. I've spoken about this in the past. Women want to feel secure, and whether men like it or not, finances plays a big part in that. And there's nothing wrong with a woman saying, I actually don't want to go out with someone who is broke. That's fine. That's what she wants. You know, just like how there's guys that want a girl with a big bunda. It's fine. It's what he wants. It's a preference. It's a type. It's okay. Me too. I don't date guys who don't have.
Big
you can't
bunda.
tell me. No, I'm not
Mad.
saying they have to be rich, but you just can't be broke.
I said big bunda.
No, you're mad. You're not serious. Well, you're not mad, but that is mad. God forbid you'll never be mad. Sorry, that's a Nigerian me coming out, but he's not mad. But he doesn't have to be mad rich to date me, but he can't tell me he's broke. If you tell me you're broke, automatically you are not sexy. You are not somebody I can even take seriously because you told me you ain't got peas. I'm sorry. It's just, it is what it is. Especially because, not that I'm rich, but I'm able to look after myself. I'm not depending on anyone for money, and I'm not broke. So I don't want to be tied to someone who is. Sorry. It sounds, that's another conversation. So I've got no issues with her not wanting to date the guy because he's broke, and no issues with the guy being honest. The thing that I didn't like about that was her saying that he could have at least tricked her. And I know she did it for bants, and she probably did it thinking the girls would be like, a lie, like at least like pattern up, like which I somewhat get. But the fact that she was like, oh, you could at least trick me. Girls don't want to be tricked. That's what we're trying to get away from. So in her joking in jest that he could have at least tricked her, it's kind of like that defeats the purpose of what we want. We don't want guys to lie to us. We want them to just present themselves. And, you know, if you're not what we want after being honest with us, then so be it. You know, that doesn't mean that you should lie and cover up and present yourself as something that you're not in order to get the girl. Be who you are. Same way a girl should be who she is. If the guy or the girl, whoever you're trying to approach, is not for that, then that's cool. They're not for you. Perfect. The sooner you know that, the better. You can go your separate ways and you meet someone who is for you. Simples. So that's the bit that I was like, no. Personally. Yeah.
It's techie, man. Because back to the money thing, right? Him saying, like, there's so many levels to it. Because he said, what he said is something about like, oh, no, I'm too broke to ask you for your number, but I'm gonna ask anyway. Something to that effect. That means he's looking at her and he's assuming a particular lifestyle based on her aesthetic.
Yeah.
And saying to himself, you know what, she looks like I can't afford that.
Yeah, she's got she's got the soft girl aesthetic going on.
Yeah, but that doesn't even mean that is her reality either.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's the one hand of it. And I guess the other part of it is like, I don't know, like what does broke mean? Because you can make a lot of money, but your money is tied up in things that you cannot untie it from.
I'm so glad you said that.
And then does that make you poor?
Exactly.
Then you're not poor.
You're not. Because some people could be like, oh, it depends on what is the context behind your brokenness. Is it that you have no financial literacy, or no, you're incapable of managing your money in a smart way, which means you just squander it? Are you a squanderer? Or is it that, no, actually, like I tell people that, listen, I ain't got peas. I got peas. There's savings. There's
yeah.
There's savings. There's savings. There's investments as well. So there's peas. It's just I'm not willing to spend that peas, if that makes sense. So if it's that sort of situation, then you know, she might have missed out on a really good guy or on a really good opportunity with someone. When you was just now, when you spoke about him assuming that she is of a certain quality or of a certain she's got a certain lifestyle that he might not be able to attain, and that could be a presumption that might not be her reality. I get that as well. Um, but that speaks more to his self-esteem than anything to do with what she said or what she's about. And if he doesn't think that he can meet that, then doesn't that show that he thinks he's that broke that he can't meet whatever he perceived her to be? Remember, this is a moving to someone situation. It's not someone you know before or someone you've spoken about or whatever. And she is a TikToker. She's a known TikToker anyway in the UK. Those of us that are really into the TikTok, the social media, I've just accepted I'm a social media person. Like, I'm really into it. So I know who she is, right? So he might know who she is. Let's say, for example, seen her in
and
real
assumes,
life and then be like, you know what, I've seen her TikToks. I know what she's about to an extent. Or I've seen her Instagram. I know what she's about. Don't know if I can meet that. So let me just shoot my shot anyway. What's the harm? Or even if he doesn't know who she is and he's based it on what he's seen, what he saw was what made him move to her in the first place. I thought she was attractive. She's well put together. She can dress. She's giving me soft life vibes. I want a piece of that, or I want to shoot my shot again. Why not give it a go? Whether or not that's her lifestyle for real or not, it doesn't matter at that point. Because when you move to someone or the very first meeting with someone, it's basically on what you present in that moment that determines whether or not you like them, and vice versa. So if anything, he should have looked at her, assumed that she lives this lifestyle, or assumed that she's of a certain caliber, and presented himself in line with that to increase his chances of her saying yes. That's basically what she was trying to say. What she's trying to say is, she didn't say it in a very nice way, really, and she made jest of it. But basically what she's saying is, you shouldn't have told me you were broke. And I actually agree with that. Like, if it's like going for a job interview and telling the employer, do you know what, sometimes I'm late in it, but I still want to, do you know what I mean? Sometimes I lie that, you know, every time I start a new job, automatically all my grandparents are alive. And slowly but surely I start telling you that I've lost a grandparent, so I get time off. People do it. But
never thought of that one. I should have.
But it's all right. It's all right. Like, I can still do the job. They're not gonna hire you. Do you know what I mean? So like, if you want something, you need to present yourself correctly. In
I
order
don't
to
know,
do
man.
that.
I don't know.
But don't lie.
I'll tell you why.
Present yourself,
I'll
but
tell
don't
you why.
lie, is what I'm saying.
I'll tell you why I'm disagreeing still, and it's a very personal, not situation, but it's something that happened for me, and that's why I'm like, well, if it happened for me, then it can happen for other people. This caused mad waterworks at my wedding. By the way, I'm not going to tell it in the same way because I'm not in the same emotional space, so I can say it in jest and it will be fine. For some reason on the day, wow, even I was bawling.
Did you cry?
Listen,
I'm gonna speak to wifey to see if I can get the footage.
it was a lot, but essentially, I was just sharing the story with everybody about when me and my wife first started dating, like properly, and I guess I'm likening it to this situation because at that point in time in my life, I would never say I'm broke because I think broke is more a state of mind than it is how much you make. Like how much money you make is whatever, innit? But how you are and what you're trying to do, that's what your financial standing is to me. And at that point in time, I had no free money. My money was gone. But I was working and I'm trying to build, but I ain't got a lot of things. And anyway, so we went out for like lunch or whatever, and then I can't remember how, but then like she probably invited me to hers. I went to hers and I invited her to mine. Just as you would, like, naturally return the thingy, except there was nothing in my house. No chairs, no sofa, no bed, everything missing. The yard empty, like I've been robbed, yeah? This is the kind of house you walk into. If it wasn't for the fact that the floor was brand new and the walls were painted clean, you'd be like, this person is broke, like, because there ain't nothing in the house, like, and someone lives here. So from that moment on, you know, this guy is broke. But I never hid it. I was just like, yeah, this is, you know what I mean? Like, I'm obviously blah, 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 blah. And it didn't change anything, which is why I'm like,
She's the one.
definitely. But
Yeah.
also, that's why I'm like, she should have just gave man a, like, ask. If man's going to come forward and be like, yeah, I'm too broke, blah, blah, I'll be like, so why you broke? Like, tell me the
But
story.
you know
Do you know
what?
what I
It
mean?
might be something that, I mean, even in the video, you can see she's outside. She might be on her way somewhere. It might not
Yeah,
be
it was
a
a quick thing.
situation
Yeah.
where you can have that sort of conversation. And in your scenario, it wasn't when you moved to her that you were like, man's broke. Do you know what I mean? So you've already
Yeah.
established some sort of
But we weren't going out. We weren't
no,
like,
but you've
we
still
weren't.
established some
Yeah.
sort of connection because she's agreed to come and see you at your house.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get where I'm coming from? It's
Yeah.
not like you've just moved to me and you're telling me, bruh, my house, there's nothing. If you ever come to my house, you're going to be on the floor, babes. Like, more
Yeah,
time you'll probably have to
legit.
cover the takeaway because man's got no money. Do you know what I mean? So it's a that's what I'm trying to say. Like, first impressions count. And for me personally, as much as I say, oh, like, I don't want a broke guy, if I've gotten to know you to the point where your character and everything else is perfect, and I see that your situation isn't quite, isn't quite what I would have wanted ideally, but at the same time I can see that you're working, you're not a bum, you're actually trying to do things. It's just that you don't have disposable income. That's a different scenario totally to you stepping up to me randomly, a stranger that I don't know, haven't had a chance to get to know, and he comes and says to me, you know what, I am broke, but I'm still gonna ask you out anyway. It's different. It's different. It's different. It's
I hear you,
different.
man.
I feel like
I hear you.
you know, like the situation is it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Man's broke. He was honest. She lied that she has a man, which again, I get
She
why
don't
girls.
deserve him.
I don't know about that because I don't know his character. I get why girls do that.
I know he's honest and she's not.
I get why girls do that. Because sometimes it's like I don't want to say the real reason, because if I say the real reason, it's going to actually make you feel crappy about yourself. If I say to you, I don't want to give you my number because you just told me you're broke. Imagine you've summed up the courage to ask this girl for her number and you've told her you're broke. Yeah, thinking I'm just gonna shoot my shot anyway. And then she turns around and uses that against you and says, yeah, that's the reason why I'm not gonna give you my number. Like, that would be like
I mean, that would be the honesty you need. Now you know, don't be so stupid to be walking around telling everybody
but
you're
unless
broke.
you've got a self-esteem of steel and nothing phases you, that, come on, it's not nice. And girls think about those things. We do actually think about how is the rejection. Well, not all girls. Some girls are really rude about it, but some of us do think about, okay, I don't want to hurt this person's feelings, so because I'm gonna hurt their feelings anyway by rejecting them. But I don't want to hurt it any more than I need to. So let me think of a way to like get out of it. Oh, I got a man.
To make this all nice and soft.
I'm just not ready for a relationship right now. No, she's not ready for a relationship with you. She doesn't like you. Okay.
Girls are always ready for a relationship, man.
So if she's telling you she's not ready, then
you just gotta be the right guy.
You're not the guy. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like that's just what it is. And we try and find ways to say it in a nice way, no matter how honest the girl is. But I think for me, the guy, I get where she's coming from about like, this is my first impressions of you. You could have just asked me out and I could find out you're broke a bit later and make my decision at that point. But if you want to get your foot in the door, maybe not tell the girl you're broke.
Maybe. I don't think you should be talking about your
finances at all. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, unless it's like, okay, we've got to know each other a little bit, and actually she's feeling me, I'm feeling her. Let me tell her my situation after some time, like you did with wifey. Cool. But on the first time,
I didn't tell her nothing. I just let her see.
Okay, but the first time that you're coming to step to me to ask me for my number, that's when you want to tell me you're sleeping on a mattress at home. Do you know what I mean?
Like, I wasn't even sleeping on a mattress.
But
I was sleeping on chair cushions on the floor.
I mean, when I first moved into my flat, I had to do the same thing for a while, for a piece until things came in. Do you know what I mean? But everyone's had to live that sort of life at some point. But yeah, I get her where she's coming from. The delivery wasn't great. Please, let's not be advocating for guys to lie to us. think of trying to move to someone as like trying to get a job, right? Trying to put your best foot forward for a job. And I'm not saying lie on your CV, and I'm not saying say you've
Tell them
got
lies.
skills that...
Tell them whatever they want to hear, boy.
No.
If it's a CV, tell them what they want to hear.
Yeah, for a job. Yeah, but for a relationship, no, don't do that.
Nah,
because...
don't do that for a relationship.
Yeah,
No,
don't do that. But what I'm trying to say is like the initial move into the person, put your best foot forward. Maybe be silent on certain things. Don't trick and don't lie, but be silent. And also, just going back to what you're saying about like him assuming she's a certain type of caliber. If you think the person is above your caliber, I mean, shoot your shot by all means, but then just be prepared for the potential no. And that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was ready for the no from the beginning.
I mean, clearly, because he's telling her he's broke. Clearly. That's one. Do you know what?
Brother,
you know when it comes to icks, yeah, that is one of my icks.
No, that's just that can be everybody's ick. That doesn't make sense. Brother, I beg, if you're watching the Unpicked podcast right now, or a clip from the Unpicked podcast on Twitter or YouTube or wherever, bro, real talk, yeah? No need to tell people you're broke at all. That's what you are. That's none of their business. It's none of their business. You are also a person. Let them just meet the person.
Let them get to know
to know the person.
That's it.
And then if they're not on the person, cool. Because you
Somebody
might have
else
told
will.
her that. You might have dated her and been like, rah, she's dead anyway. And now you got turfed by some girl who actually you think is dead, but you didn't even get to find that out. Why? Because you told her you're broke. So she didn't even give you a chance. Unnecessary.
Why do guys think like that? And we kind of need to talk about that. Why do guys think like
What?
that? Well, she might have been dead anyway, but now you got turfed by someone that you never got to find out. Like, that's the mentality of who turfs who first. It's very childish, you know?
No, it's the mentality of he's equated her to being something superior to him based on finance. He doesn't know who she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he looked at her, but he doesn't know who she is. And she's written him off.
Yeah.
Based on finance.
Fair enough.
But had he have not mentioned it, he could have met the character. And then he would have got to know, does he even like her?
And she could have got to know his character and been like, do
Of
I
course.
even like him? Or, I got to know his character and now he's broke. Boy, I'm out. Could have taken 3 months. And then she would have been like, you know what? You spent 3 months sewing into me emotionally and all that. And I'm still going to dump you anyway. Who knows? But when you're moving to someone, put your best foot forward and see where it goes. And if either of you are not feeling it, it's not meant to be, and move on. Like, people take this too serious. Like, it's not that deep. What is meant for you will be for you, innit? Like, get to meet the person, get to know them. If you're compatible, you will work out. If you're not, move, and move fast as well. Don't waste time. Like, you know what? It's not for me. Boom, out. Simples. It's me. If everyone,
and don't start talking about money.
If everyone operated like that, the dating scene in London specifically, because I can't talk about anywhere else, would not be the ghetto. It would be so much easier. It would be so much easier. Less wasted time, no deceiving, no lies, not too much emotion put in there. Like, you've got to, when it comes to picking a partner for life, you kind of got to be strategic about it, I guess, these days. You can't leave it to luck all the time.
I don't know. The dating scene sounds dead and also sounds exciting all at the same time.
You're not in it. That's why you're saying it sounds exciting.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, it's not. It's the ghetto. It's the ghetto. It is the ghetto out here. Best believe it. And that's...
I mean, you lot got apps happening.
What? Did you say apps?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend told me about some app, yeah? And basically, every Thursday, this app comes to life. And then it tells you, like, about all these events. And everybody at these events is single. Like, you have to have the app. And then on a Thursday, it, like, opens up, tells you how many people.
Don't find out
give
what
you the
deets.
Yeah. Because when I heard that, I was like, oh, that sounds lit. Like,
yeah,
how could you not enjoy that?
Send me the deets. Let me be the guinea pig.
I'll send you the deets.
Do you know what? Send me the deets.
Yeah.
For experimental purposes.
You go on Thursday.
For experimental
purposes. Feedback.
Yeah. And then we'll come back and talk about it.
Yeah.
I guess I can put myself through it as the guinea pig for the show. I'm happy to sacrifice for the show.
I thought it sounded like a winning situation. Like you just
I'm
rock
willing
up.
to sacrifice for the show. I'm just saying. So yeah.
Okay, I'll find out the name of
Do
this thing and
that.
then I'll
But
send it to
no,
you.
the dating scene is the ghetto. It is the ghetto.
Um,
And maybe we can talk about that again
mm.
another time.
If you watched last week's episode, you already know what's coming. Today, we're talking about Timothy Wood West. Again, it was brought to our attention before last week's episode that the BBC had done a follow-up documentary diving deeper into that whole kind of worms that you already know about. If you don't, we have an episode that you need a VPN to watch, or you can watch it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, but it's blocked on YouTube. Anyway, the allegations are there. There's been more allegations brought forward. There's been themes around underage things. There's a lot there. Watch the documentary. We've left it in the description. Make sure you go and watch it if you haven't already. But I guess what we want to talk about in this episode, because we've already covered our opinions on Mr. Wood West, is how we got here. How these young black women, girls, in fact, actually, found themselves in these compromising scenarios with this person, and how all of these things allegedly came to be. Miss Dammy to the Zane.
The last time we discussed this, and just so you guys know, if you watch it with a VPN, the reason why you can still catch it with a VPN is because it's only banned in the UK. So those of our international watchers on YouTube still have access to it. But if you're watching us and you're from the UK, then yeah, you'll need a VPN, or you can just listen on Spotify. But the last time we discussed this, we were saying that the women that had come forward were all over the age of consent for sex. And so we suspected that they were younger people. And we felt that the documentary would have been more striking, more powerful, more impactful, if I can call it that, if
Yeah,
there
for sure.
were women who had come forward who were younger at the time that they came into contact with this individual. And going forward, I probably won't mention their name, because as much as they've banned our last one, I don't want this one to be
Yeah, I know
frank. But we all
bangers.
know who we are. We know, and you guys will know who we're talking about, because the documentary is linked in the description. But yeah, I'm upset for the victims, obviously, but I'm glad that we've got victims who've come forward who were younger when they came into contact with this individual. I feel like it makes the allegations more, and it's not like I'm out to get this person or I want this person's downfall, but it's because in the within the culture, within the black community in the UK especially, we can say that we've all suspected that there was some foul play going on
He's a known villain.
with young girls. So because the suspicions were there, just having people come out and confirm that with allegations that these suspicions are real, is something we've all kind of been like, of course, like we've been waiting for this, like we expected this to come out at some point. And so I'm glad that this documentary went a bit deeper. We had new people, fresh faces, fresh voices, an array of different types of abuse, coercion, grooming going on across the years as well. So it wasn't like in a selected time. It was like, oh, going all the way back to the 90s, we're talking here. So yeah, I felt like this one makes the first documentary impactful, or makes it more striking, makes the allegations more shocking. And I'm hoping that something happens off the back of it.
Definitely.
What were your
For me,
what are your general thoughts to begin with?
So I felt like this was a better documentary
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
in terms of what it was saying and how it was delivered. They I think they picked the people who they brought on and the stories quite well based on what I felt like I knew from what I'd seen in the scene and understood this person's narrative to be. It was good that they had someone who actually showed their face, because I felt like in the first one, it felt very like not wishy-washy, but it didn't feel like substantiated in truth. It just felt like allegations and alleged, and you know what I mean? It felt like the same rumors that I felt like I knew,
I
but
do
this
think
felt
this one was the
real.
same. I feel it's all allegation at this point. Nothing
No,
has
no, no. I know
been.
it's all allegation, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think the fact that you also had someone who was happily there to identify themselves just to make sure that this did not appear like it was, yeah, if you know what I mean. Like it's a different level when you're, for example, in the R. Kelly equivalent.
Yeah.
I feel like we saw all the victims in that,
No, we didn't see all of
but
them.
but
We
mo-
saw
but a
them. We
majority of
saw
them,
I guess the main one, the ones that were open to speak.
yeah. And so that immediately led you to side with them, to understand their
And to believe
humanity,
them as
to
well.
actually believe them.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're just listening to voices and doing that whole blur thing, it does take away from the truth, because you know who one of the people is, and the other people are not real people. They're just
I
blurs
think,
until they become made real.
yeah, I think, the Robert Kelly situation, the women spoke years and years after what had happened to them. And these were grown women. With this individual, they're younger. And the timing is different as well in terms of how long ago it was. And on top of that, I think it takes incredible courage for you to show your
Of
face
course,
on
of
a
course.
platform as big as the BBC to share your story. And so I think if those individuals decided that they didn't want to do that, because remember, it's not down to the producers who shows their face, it's down
Oh
to the
no, no, no. Of
individual
course,
that's
of
sharing.
course. No, no, no. I
So
get
if
that.
those individuals have said, I don't want to share my face, then so be it. And I don't think it should
Yeah.
take away from the story.
No,
And
I
on
think I'm more commending the woman that did show her face, because
I
it
get
made
that.
everybody's story more believable.
I get that. I think that, and you know, I think for me personally, I didn't really look at it on both documentaries as, is this believable? Because to me, it is believable, because it's something we've already suspected in the UK urban industry. It's not just something that Black people have suspected. It's something that people from across different cultures have suspected. If you listen to hip hop, R&B, or went to any event that this individual hosted, you would have seen something, and it was like a thing that people knew about. And that's what we were trying to convey in our last episode. We were saying it's something that people have had suspicions about. If you were in that sphere, if you were going to those events and stuff like that, you had suspicions. So I think there's enough of us, given the span of that person's career and how many places that they've been to. I think it's obviously the whole point of it is to reach more people, not just the people that already know. But I feel like the majority of people that probably watched the documentary in the first place already had suspicions. And the proof is in the pudding, because not only did we discuss it as a podcast here, but it was all over sorry, my words. It was all over you. It was not me tripping over my own lips. It was all over. It happens a lot, but it's just because juicy. Sorry. I just had to do it. Let me be serious. It was all over YouTube. It was spoken about across other podcast platforms. It was on the news the next day. There was like a little something about it. It was on the BBC website as well. There was an article on there, and other like news, online news broadcasters. So it did what it needed to do. And
yeah, I mean,
the second
man's
one,
vanished.
the second one adds to that. And that's what I'm really happy about. I'm glad that it's not just 6 girls, it's basically double that now. And it might even encourage more people to come out and speak. And another clear difference is the first one, the BBC were very hush hush about what they knew. In this one, they're like, you know what? We did have complaints and we're going to re-look into those. And we could argue that they should have looked at it in the first place, but the fact that
Yeah.
they've agreed to look at it now is movement. And I think the producers, production, and everyone that was behind it, they should be absolutely like incredibly proud of themselves for that, just for that alone. It's not a big stride, but it's better than what it was before, where it was like,
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
it was like a suspicion that people spoke about, maybe joked about, but no one really
Addressed it.
or people tried to address it and it got shut down and stuff like that, maybe because people were too scared to speak. More than anything, that was probably the reason. But now people have spoken, and we might get more people. And if the BBC are open to look at it now, it might be a Jimmy Savile situation where it's like, well, we'll look into it to the point where this can end up going to court and this person is still alive. So it's not even like oh, it happened after they passed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's quite positive. The one thing that stood out to me watching both those documentaries, and I guess Robert Kelly's as well, to be honest, is the freedom that these girls had.
Yeah. It definitely speaks to a level of accessibility that I don't think we as a culture have ever really addressed
Yeah.
for how dangerous it actually is.
Yeah.
I think maybe even we've addressed it on the opposite side of the foot and tried to be liberals and tried to give our own people, male and female, young boys and young girls, a level of freedom to grow up, which is actually very unsafe and I think leads to most of the problems that are experienced in our culture. Because when you think about the way, not that this is about boys, but just to quickly sidetrack, if you think about the way that young boys are involved in activities that they shouldn't be, whether they're drug related or gang related, not that they're mutually exclusive, but generally this comes because of the freedom that they can experience in the day and in the night.
Yeah, a lot of it is because, I mean, in the UK, in London, I can't speak for anywhere else. I hate that I have to always say that, but there's always going to be someone in the comments that's going to be like,
let them comment. I'll let them comment, boy. I'm talking about you.
Do you know what? We've been doing this podcast long enough now for me to not care. So I'm just going to say, here in the UK, majority of people in our community, and when I say our community, I mean the Black community specifically, are from working class backgrounds. And what that might mean is either, when you look at it from a sociological perspective, the parents might be parent, carer, guardian, probably working long hours or more than one job. And that means when we were young, like, I remember at a time, me specifically as well, we relied on things like after school clubs and, other things like that to help, like, to keep us off the street, out of danger, in a place where we could be safeguarded to an extent, out when we're not at home. And also bearing in mind back in the day, there was a lot more playing outside and stuff like that. There was more opportunity actually for you to do or get into things that you're not supposed to do or get into, whereas now everybody's like literally in their phone like this. Like, I don't think people are really outside like that too tough these days.
They're outside. They're not playing out, but they're outside though.
I mean, now predators can get to them through their phone, so it's a different, it's a totally different ball game. And I'm saying all of this, but I also want to make it clear that we're not blaming or shifting blame on anyone. We're not saying that parents could have done a better job. We're not saying that the girls were fast or anything like that. It was just really alarming to me that like he had a relationship with someone who was allegedly had a relationship with someone that was under 16, who admitted that they were living alone at the time, under 16. Like, that's a big, to me, I was like, whoa, like 18, cool, but under 16 living on your own. Of course, you would have been susceptible to grooming by someone who's in their 30s as an under 16-year-old living by yourself, you know? And it just kind of made me, like we've spoken about back in the day before, we did a nostalgia episode really early in our career as podcasters. And we spoke about the good things, but we didn't really talk about the bad things, which is children just had too much freedom back in the day. Like,
Had
genuinely, I
mad
feel
amounts of
like
freedom.
I was playing outside and my parents were strict, and I'm so grateful for it now. I hated it at the time, but I was grateful for it now. But even in their strictness, I still had enough freedom for me to say that I'm playing at one friend's house, but be really going somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And it's scary to me. It's very scary to me. And one of the girls said something. She said, you know, at that age, you're not thinking this is wrong. You're thinking this is exciting. Like, I've got an older person's interested in me. This person is also in the industry. They're also well known. They're the gatekeeper.
Yeah, they can open up these doors for me.
Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, like they, even if it's just taking me to events and stuff, and you know, they didn't realize till they were older that this isn't. They even admitted that they didn't realize it until they were older that this isn't right. And one of the girls said she remembers going to like an underage rave where they weren't even serving alcohol, obviously, because it was for under 16. They were serving pop. And he must have like pressed her breast and did like a jiggle thing, and people saw it. And she at the time just thought, well, that happened, put it to the side. And it's now that she's old and she's got a child herself that she got emotional, and she's like, if that happened to my child now, like that's not okay.
It's a war thing.
Exactly. So it's kind of, it just, like every story I heard, and even the first installment of allegations, I was just thinking these girls like had a bit too much freedom. We had a lot of freedom.
A lot. When I think when we were just talking about this, and we were talking about the like the nostalgia and how things were when we were kids growing up in London, it just made me realize that like other ethnic groups in being so strict, because I remember like my Muslim friends, my Pakistani friends, I used to be like, "Rah, man, why is your parents so strict? Like, why don't they let you play out? Like, we're only gonna be over at the park, blah blah blah." Like, I remember how many times I knocked for certain friends from different ethnicities, and their parents were like, "Nah, you're not going out now. Like, it's done. Playtime done." And I was just like, I remember I used to put pressure on them, like, "Rah, like, why ain't like, you know what I mean? Like, you're the downer, like you're not able to come out." Whereas all of my black friends, we were fine to cut, and we're all hanging out, we're all having a great time. But now, as an adult looking back, I'm seeing all of the protection that I offered my other friends and all of the damage that my black friends have experienced from that freedom.
Yeah.
Like, that was not freedom.
Yeah.
That was just pure risk.
Huge.
Well, not even risk. It was just, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say this like I'm going to be that parent, but at the same time, I'm going to be that parent, because it's just madness out there. Like, even down to my parents, when I was a teenager, by that point, they were separated.
Yeah.
My dad lived maybe, I don't know, maybe about 2 miles away. So I used to walk between, like, if I ever wanted to just go see my dad, or when I just walk, that's only down the road, you know what I mean? Walk back.
Yeah.
I was about my ends. Like, I mean, my whole ends, like a circular, at least 4 miles, at least in a circle. I was everywhere in between. Even if I really deep it, right? there was this guy that everybody knew in my ends, Jamaican guy, proper yardie, who was also a paedophile. And if ever he caught you on your ones, he'll just try to chat you up, but like calm, like just what he'll just say whatever the weather, like, oh yeah, what's good, yeah, da, 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 da. And then as soon as he gets you talking, he'll try and sell you any dream that he can to actually get like a conversation. One time he was telling me like, what you like, are you into porn? Like, da, 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 da. Like, you know, like filming porn and this, that, and I was like, bruv, I'm good, bro. Like it's I don't need, but that's me being able to see what this particular person is up to.
I'm so glad you said. I was about to say, because if
Do you
you were
understand?
streetwise, you could get out of certain situations to an extent. As a woman, or taking myself back to when I was a girl, and this is the reason why I don't want to blame anyone. I had very strict parents, to the point where my parents had an alarm. They still have an alarm in their house. Like, before bed, my dad will, doot, doot, I'm home. So there's no sneaking out, because if you sneak out, the alarm will go off. He knows exactly what time you came in and what time you left. I moved out when I was like late 20s. And up until late 20s, yes, even when I'm coming back from a rave at 4, 5, 6 a.m., the alarm's going off, boy. Dad knows what time I got home. Do you know what I mean? So we were and even like when I was younger, house alarm, house arrest to the side, it was like, oh, you want to go cinema with your friends? Cool, mum's coming along. Mum's there chaperoning. She'll be sitting a few seats behind or whatever. She's there. Do you know what I mean? Or friends are having a party. Okay, yeah, cool. We'll take you and we'll pick you up. Or, you know, like my parents were just very like on the ball, And yet, even me, like I remember one time when I was living in Ends, not even Essex, like living like in Ends, East London, like whatever. And I was playing out with my friends, and I can't have been older than 13, because that's when we moved to Essex. So I was quite young, right? Yeah, I moved to Essex when I was 13. So I was really young. I remember this. And I was playing with my friends, and we lived in like a block of flats, but we were on the ground floor, and it felt like a bungalow, not really a flat. But next to us was like, in our estate, next to our building was an actual block of flats, like old school block of flats, block of flats. And as you know, with those type of flats, where the lift is or the stairs is quite dark, it's quite covered, it's not open space, it's very like, you know, anything can happen there. And I had friends that lived upstairs in one of these blocks, so I used to go upstairs, and like I remember we went up, came down, and then we were playing around in that area, and there was this man who, looking back, might have been Eastern European or something like that, or maybe he had olive skin. I remember that, olive skin. And he was injecting his penis with something, and we've walked in and we've seen that, and he just literally whipped it out and was injecting his penis with something. And then I was like, that was my first time seeing a real life penis, and I was like, turn around slowly, let's get out of here. And then he was like, no, don't be scared, like come and see. And I was like, and that was my first, and my parents don't know about this, so if they're listening, sorry guys, this is your first time hearing it.
They know now, boy.
But I still remember what that was like. I still remember, as I'm talking about it, I'm having flashbacks of the whole thing, and I was quite young. And that, to me, that is sexual abuse. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is sexual abuse. But there's other stories that are similar to that I experienced. And I still experienced it despite my parents being so meticulous and so like, you know, you can play out, but it has to be within the estate, and you can't go around the corner, and you can't this and you can't that, and do you know what I mean? And you can only play with certain friends, and like they were so like, what I'm trying to say is there's only you can only protect your kids to an extent. Hence why I'm saying you can't really blame parenting and stuff like that.
No,
but
at all.
The observation for me was, wow, these girls were really free.
Yeah,
you know, for you to be able to say, oh, I met up with him somewhere, this person took me out in their car, just you two, You're underage,
Yeah,
you're in his car.
madness.
He took me to his house. How do you expect someone who is under 16 to even identify that that is wrong? Because to them, I'm just going out with someone who I see as an authority. There was even someone that was working in his youth team that he saw as an authority figure that was like, oh, he's my boss. So, you know, how do I get out of his house? How do I get out of that situation? No matter how street smart you are as a young girl, as a little girl, it's a sticky situation. Do you know what I mean? So it's
Very
just
strict.
like,
Yeah.
it really just opened my eyes to, wow, these girls weren't protected at all, weren't safeguarded at all. And the individual is a monster, like, just like, oh, allegedly, like Robert Kelly. I'm only saying allegedly to protect us, really, but you know, like Robert Kelly, they're the main perpetrator. They're the one that committed the crime, allegedly. However, these children were not safeguarded. They were just free from what I can see. And that's really scary.
It is.
And it
It
kind of
is.
reminds me of like how today there's no way of policing children on the internet. No matter how much parental controls you can put up there. Case in point, me and my Pyong Pyong video last week. Yes, TikTok took it down, but like I said, there's also content that I've seen that talks about sex and stuff like that, and some of it gets
Yeah,
taken down
there's
and some of it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? Or
yeah.
I saw something recently on TikTok. There's loads of pages like this, you know, where people start to monetize off their kids. Like they put up, they
Yeah.
have like accounts for their children. And someone, I saw a really interesting TikTok the other day where a lady was like dissecting how many saves a young
She
girl was
gets on
getting.
the
Yeah, so this like girl that's 3 years old, a little blonde white baby, has a TikTok page. Her mum manages it, obviously, and there's certain things that the child was doing. There was one where the child was eating a hot dog that had like 500 and something thousand saves on the TikTok video. So that means people, like 500,000 people, have saved this video of this young girl eating a hot dog. Or there's one where the girl was wearing like a crop top. A little baby's wearing those baby crop tops, and again that one had like crazy numbers of saves. And she was saying how when she has a daughter who is under the age of 16, who she created a Instagram for, and she noticed that they left like weird comments in the TikTok. So she went onto the Instagram to like what accounts are actually following this account, and even the names of the accounts are very suspect. Or you read the comments and the comments are derogatory over a child, over a baby, you know, like, oh, look at how that baby's eating that corn dog, or look at how that baby's eating, oh right, the way that baby's eating on that hot dog is kind of, you know, side eye. And it's like, these comments are not okay, and this is on the internet. Do you know what I mean? So like, back then it was children could physically go out, play out, be free in that way. Now it's in their phone. And how many children have a tablet and are able and know how to access YouTube? Or how many parents are actually watching what their children are watching and paying attention to who's following their accounts and who's sharing, liking, saving their children's content online and stuff like that. When you really deep it, it's a scary world, and there's only so
no,
much
it's
safeguarding you
terrifying.
can do. It's terrifying. It's scary.
The thing is, you can't safeguard if you are not providing the media. And what I mean by that is, when I was growing up, anything that I wanted to entertain myself with was either purchased by my mum, my dad, or my grandparents, or some member of my family, and then passed to my mum and dad, etc. So, for example, if I'm reading a book, then it's gonna be something that they've picked up, that they've already like A-okayed. If I'm watching a video or a series, it's already been A-okayed by an adult. But what happens now, I guess, is that a lot of kids have these devices and they're left with them because it entertains them. But what you don't get is the adult then proof watching, reading, and whatever in every single piece of content that the kid then consumes. Whereas I did have that. I used to watch like Fireman Sam, Spot the Dog, Thomas Tank Engine. These are my jams, yeah? But my parents already knew what they were. They knew fully, and they were like, yeah. You can watch that.
Well, we were watching
No,
it
I
on
did.
TV. We were not given a small device that you can go to another room or.
No, no. Yeah.
I'm watching Real Housewives of Atlanta. My kids there sitting there watching their YouTube. I don't know what they clicked on. And these
Exactly.
kids, like I've my baby sister is 9, and the way my girl can navigate any electronic device,
Yeah.
it's mad. Do you know what I mean? So like, and even before she was 9, she was able to do that. So yeah, I just it just really that really that was really highlighted to me, and I just thought this is scary. It's scary because the lack of safeguarding meant that it had an impact on the experience these kids had, if that makes sense. Um, and I'm really interested to find out what happens next. Like that last documentary spoke about like not just the industry having suspicions because there were allegations made or reports or complaints, but also this individual being so brazen and open about what they were doing in front of people at children events, for example, like grabbing a girl's breasts, a
In front of a
13-year-old
whole
girl's
team.
breasts in front of your whole team, in front of security, in front of other people that were at the event.
Even the camera, it was before
cameraman.
the camera. Insane.
So what happens
Actually
next?
insane.
Yeah, what happens next? Because it's all well and good putting it out there and having a documentary, but what's the next step?
I mean, I think the next step is somebody got to build a case.
I mean, it starts off with the victims. They have to obviously, speaking about it on a documentary is brave, it's commended. But to actually stop this person and for it to be taken seriously, the next step has to be made, which is you report it, and it has to be.
But I think they did say that on the BBC. Though I think on the last documentary they did say that more people had reported there.
Yeah.
There definitely was a point about that.
Yeah, because like the Arkell's thing, if it had just stopped at the Arkell's documentaries, the series, I don't think people wouldn't have taken it. It would have come and gone.
Yeah.
But because it became, okay, now we're going to file it and we're going to make a complaint and it's going to court and now man's sitting in prison. That's what needs to happen before people can move away from it's alleged to, no, now it's fact because it's been investigated.
Yeah. And it's gone through the legal system
and now
this is the verdict.
Yeah. Because at the moment, because it's alleged, and we know personally, because we've been victims of this ourselves, we know that this person's team is trying to silence people.
Yeah.
So we know they're trying to silence,
which is ridiculous in and of itself, because
it's ridiculous. I mean, unless you're going to go through the whole YouTube and silence everybody, please.
And you need to start with the BBC because the documentaries are still there.
Like, when I saw the email that we got blocked in the UK for defamation, I said, are you lot all right? What did we talk about that's different from what was on the BBC, please? If it was the BBC, I'd get it, because I did make some real like allegations about the BBC, to be honest, because I was pretty much like, he was working under you. Some of these things happened whilst he was an active employee. How didn't anyone?
How did this all slip? Yeah.
How did it slip and slide? No, you're telling me not one person complained to you lot, and you didn't look into it. And you lot would have been providing security and stuff like that for these events and stuff. So, eyebrows raised. But for him himself to come after us, he must have thought this podcast episode is going to have real impact for him for his team to be so pressed to put a claim against us. You know what I mean? So I just feel like until there's actual like police involvement and investigation, this will continue. They will continue to go after people who are reporting it that are not as big as the BBC, to try and silence them, to reduce the outreach,
the social impact,
the buzz around it. And I guess until there's police involvement or there's an actual investigation and there's a verdict, then it will continue to be 30-minute or smaller, shorter, lower budget documentaries on the BBC website, as opposed to it being like a whole panorama, or what's it, watchdog episode, or on
Mm,
prime time
I
after
mean,
EastEnders on a Friday night. Do you know what I
I
mean?
mean, I think I'm waiting for it, boy. A primetime piece, Watchdog, you know, or Watchdog might come and do the deep dive.
Deep dive, 1 hour long,
Hmm.
8:30 after EastEnders on a Friday night,
Yeah,
prime
boy.
time when everyone's
Giving you
watching,
all the receipts
giving you all
because
the receipts. Might even get a Netflix
facts.
special like the Jimmy Savile. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a
Mad.
lot.
Yeah,
There's a lot.
that would be
Trust me, it could get to that level, but it needs to be taken through the justice system first for that to happen.
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But still, off the back of it, I feel like we really do need to address some cultural changes that need to happen with regards to how we are allowing our young people to move, and the level of independence. Even the way you spoke to I mean, I get it, as a parent not everyone's going to want to follow their kids, but as you said, what you said about how your mum will be like, cool, do you want to go movies, cool, I'll be in the back,
I'm
blah blah blah.
there. So annoying.
I'm
man,
actually
back
like, you know,
then.
that's kind of
It was very
a
annoying,
vibe.
but Mum, I love you so much. Because if
No, it's a vibe
if
though,
not
like,
for that, I don't know.
I mean, it's not a vibe, and I can understand
a
as a
vibe when
parent,
you're
if you
the
don't want to
child.
do that, I get it.
And it's not
You
a
know what I
vibe when
mean?
you're a child, because it's like, oh, my mum's coming. That's long. Like, maybe I don't want to go because my mum's gonna be there. But
I mean, I'm gonna be
it's
that cool
I'm
pops, you
always gonna
know.
be that cool mom. Like, hello, hi,
So
yeah.
everybody's gonna be like, oh, what? Your dad's not coming? I'm like, no,
Think
I'm
about
coming.
it.
I'm coming.
Think about it. Think about it. We are hosts. Yeah, we have our own show. Yeah. And by the time we're cooking out little ones, we're gonna be big. I'm claiming it.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna want us to come to the team.
Of course.
They're gonna be like,
And I
swear
will
down,
be
your
there.
dad's Venom, the
Man
producer,
will be
swear
there.
down. No. Bring him through.
Still.
He might even ask you to DJ at the event.
Yeah.
Do you know what
I'll
I
be
mean?
like, yeah, cool, I'll do the pie in minor.
Yeah, man, come on.
And that's the thing. I get it. Like, there's certain things that you do as a part of being a youth,
Yeah,
that are dangerous, that are wrong, that's
and you think
that you
it's
grow
fun.
with.
You think it's fun.
I have not got a problem with young people doing the madness that young people do, i.e. going to a party and drinking alcohol when they're underage. I'm not telling you to do that. I don't condone it. But what I'm saying is, if that's what you're doing, I'm not coming to stop you. But I just need to know, cool. Because basically, I've been to enough parties in my youth that I know that sometimes people just show up who definitely shouldn't be there.
Yeah, man.
And they move mad.
Yeah, man.
And I don't know, man. And again, it's because all of these people have too much freedom. That's why. Because I'm looking at these people and now I'm thinking, in fact, man, legally there's things I can't even talk about in specifics, yeah? But I have seen the parent of a youth who, I mean, essentially, they tried to cause serious bodily harm to another individual with a weapon. I saw the parent of said individual, and the parent had a smile on their face. And I said, what the hell? How can we get to a point of having the, you know what I mean, having safety, if the parent's not even gonna be.
It's all about education, you know. When you deep it, parents, and I say this a lot because I was having a conversation about this with someone recently about how in the African community, and I would love for this to be a separate episode one day, how toxic parenting styles are in the African community, and how it teaches children to lie when they're too strict and stuff, or the whole children are seen and not heard, and you know, there's no such thing as mental health issues, and there's a lot there, and how the reason why this came up in the conversation was because we were the argument was that there's a lot of black children or adults actually now walking around with mental health issues
Mm-hmm.
because of the way that they were raised. So anxiety, depression, like basically most of it is down to um trauma when they were
Mm-hmm.
younger,
Mm-hmm.
and the trauma is the way in which they're raised in their homes. Um and then we spoke specifically about African home or Nigerian homes because we're both Nigerian. And I was saying, and I always say that our parents did the best that they could with the information that they had and what they thought was right.
Yeah.
There is no manual that comes with a child that says this is how you're supposed to raise a child. This is what, you know what I mean? Like when you're all parents are winging it, winging it.
Basically.
And they pass down what they've learned, and they will do similar to what we do, which is we look at our childhood and we go, yeah, I know how that impacted me. That wasn't quite right, so I'm not going to do that. But this was really good, so I'm going to do that. It happens and it goes down each generation like that, as well as what you learn secondary socialization. So what you've learned at school, what you've seen happen to your friends and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
that impacts how you're going to raise your own as well. Our
Mm-hmm.
parents have done the same thing. So with that in mind, they obviously should have, because I know some parents are just bad mind, they don't care about their kids, but majority, I would like to think that they love their children and hope that the way that they're raising them is the right way and that it's gonna, it's for the best. But if they're getting it wrong, it's because of education. It's because they don't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then the flip side of the education thing is, I think that more needs to be done in schools, or there needs to be more mentorship for young boys and young girls on right from wrong, on being able to identify when something isn't safe, on what sort of situations they should and should not get themselves into, and more so the mentorship, because I had a mentor. I had mentors when I was growing up. And so as much as my parents were strict, there were certain things that I just knew was wrong that I never really even had the desire to do. Like I never had the
Mm.
desire to sneak out and go to a rave or have fake ID. I never had the desire. Do you know, I just never had the desire for it because I knew and I
Mm.
understood the dangers around doing those types of things. And I got that from having a mentor of some capacity. And I think teachers, if you've got a really cool teacher, a teacher, if you're a teacher that has gained respect from your students, you can double up as a mentor and be able to kind of teach them things. But I
Mm.
think all of it just stems from lack of education and the inability to get younger people to see that you think this is um for shizes and giggles. You think it's just fun, but actually these things can lead you down a path that will be difficult to come back from. Yeah, that's just, yeah, that's my thinking of it in general, but I think a lot of it is down to education, because I mean, I know for a fact my parents would be devastated hearing some of the things that I was
Doing, yeah, when you
exposed
was.
to, not doing,
Mm.
but
Mm.
exposed
Well,
to,
yeah.
despite them doing their absolute best to protect me from those things.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't protect people from the world outside. Obviously, the world outside is complicated.
Which is why it's down to education. So getting the younger people to see that these things, you think it's fun, but actually these are the implications, and this is why you don't actually want to get into that. Because then it
Mm.
teaches them from within that this is wrong and this is not what I really want to get involved in, or what I want to be around, or how I can safeguard myself from these things a bit
Yeah,
better.
but
Because you can't control what happens out there, but you can, to an extent, control yourself and what you're
yeah,
willing to
no,
do and stuff like that.
yeah, I agree.
To an
But then part of me
extent.
is part of me is leaning towards, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, but like part of me is really leaning towards just being more strict with how, um, at least in my own opinion, for my own young people, that would be my responsibility
Yeah.
with how much freedom they have.
But Venom, I'm not even saying to you that that is wrong, or that there's one,
No, no,
there's
I know,
not
I no,
one
no, 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 I
cure
agree.
or one solution to the issue. It's got to be a collaborative endeavor, and on one end, as a parent, be more, you're able to say that because you have been exposed to certain things, and you've seen,
Mm,
for even just seeing the documentary exposes you to the fact that some children have too much freedom, or some of the things we've seen online exposes us to that fact.
mm,
um and again, of course, even our own personal experiences and how we were raised, and all the social, like the primary and secondary socialization, like the things that's the different institutions you've been in and stuff, all of that, everything
mm,
that we've
mm.
experienced is what's allowing us to say, oh yeah, when it's my turn, this is how I'm going to do it. But
Yeah, yeah.
that knowledge is education, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah, no,
it's
but
a
like
mixture,
it's
I feel
been
like.
learned over so long that I
I
don't feel
know.
like I could pass this down to a child, because there's so much context required to actually understand why this is
No,
important, if you understand what I
no,
mean.
the expectation is not that you teach them everything. The expectation is you teach them enough. Every parent wants to teach their child enough. Schools want to
Mm,
teach you enough. Do you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, it's not just, oh, let me be more strict and not give them enough freedom. You cannot give them enough freedom, and then what that can play out to is when they finally are old enough to get the freedom, they start going and doing the wrong things, because
yeah,
now
of
you've been
course. Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
strict, and you've sheltered them. Is that the word? Yeah.
It is sheltered. Yeah,
Sheltered them to
yeah,
the point where they have no street smarts. They don't know how to deal with these things. Like,
yeah. Mm,
I love my parents and how they raised me in this element, in terms of being very strict and vigilant around who I can hang around with, where I can go, who's come with me, etc. However, when I went to uni and tasted my first experience of freedom, I was exposed to people who didn't live the sheltered life
mm-hmm.
I lived, and they opened my eyes to things that I didn't even know children were doing. Because to me, it
Yeah.
was so foreign. It was so like, what? You lot was doing that? Swear down. Whoa, I thought that was like big people things. I didn't know you lot were doing that from. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
it really shocked me, and I can safely say that I was street smart because I lived in Hackney to an extent, but not to the extent that some of the things that I wasn't as mature as these people, because some of the things that they experienced I never had at that point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think being strict, yeah, great, like shelter them, do what you can to an extent, but it doesn't take away from the fact that education is also necessary. It has to be a joint endeavor. It has to be a collaborative endeavor alongside other things, not just I'm a bit strict.
No, no, of course. But I do think I'm I think I'm leaning more towards the community, and by the community I mean a community of parents more than the kids. Even though yes, the kids do need to be educated, I feel like it's more so, what are all the parents doing
Everyone needs to be
that's the
educated, in my
same?
opinion. Sorry, it's
Yeah.
not just more the parents. Everyone needs to be educated. You're there's like, the reason why I use me as an example of this is because my parents treated me like an egg. Like, they really did try and hide everything from me.
Mm-hmm.
My parents they were very liberal. I don't want you to think that they were like, when you think of those strict parents on those shows, where they used to switch the kids and the parents were
Yeah, yeah,
mad.
yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
parents were strict.
This is
This is
Barbados.
Barbados. You are not an adult
You're
in
not an adult until
Barbados until
18.
you're 18. My accent is poor, but I tried, guys.
Oh no, 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 sorry, you're not adult at 18. I think it's like
Is it
21 or
21 or
something.
something like
Anyway,
that?
anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
Like,
hilarious.
so jokes. My parents were strict, but they were also liberal, and they were very open. So, like, I think I've shared before about the time when I found out my school was doing sex education classes, and then I dropped it in conversation. So then now they had to have that conversation with me. So like, they used to talk to me about why things are not good.
Mm,
So as much as
mm,
having a mentor, my parents would actually sit me down and be like, and they didn't do it the Africana way, that, oh, if you, I mean, no, they kind of did. They do the scaremongering thing. If you get pregnant, your life is over. Like that.
It's done for
But it was
you.
also mixed in with, listen, Dami, it's going to be difficult for you to do certain things if you give yourself a responsibility such as a child so early. So it was very like, it was more balanced than some other people
mm.
have experienced. You know what I mean? Just give my parents the props where props are due.
I don't even remember
But
having them
even,
conversations with my
but
parents.
even, but even that said, yeah, I as an individual had to know and understand for myself why these things are not good for me, because otherwise I would have rebelled. And
Mm-hmm.
one style doesn't fit all kids. Like, I don't want to let my mum and dad down. I'm going to do the right thing. My sister was like, I'm going to do what I want. They'll forgive me in the end. Two
Mm.
different kids, same
Yeah, from the
upbringing.
same. Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? So for my sister, she was more, I need to understand why that thing is not. She wasn't okay, mum said no, I'm going to obey. She was, I need to understand for myself and agree, accept and agree. Very stubborn like you, Venom. Accept and agree why this thing is not what I should do before I would agree to not do it. If she doesn't think it makes sense, it's not logical to her as to why this thing is not good, she's going to do it anyway. So that's why I'm saying, like, I get it. You're saying the education should be more to the parents, but I actually think it's equal. Like, and not one. There's not one way to. What am I trying to say? Not all fingers are equal, so it's not going to be one size fits all approach. But children need to be taught the reasons behind why they're being safeguarded and what kind of things are out there. They kind of need to be exposed to these things in a safe way so that they know that, okay, that's why I'm not going to do that. And I get why. And I want for my own safety, I'm not going to do that because I get that it's not safe. As opposed to lack of education there and you're just like, no, you can't go, or no, I'm going to come with you to this, or the kid's going to be like, if you've got a kid like my sister, best believe that kid's going to be like, oh yeah, cool, dad, cool, yeah, sure. I'm still going to do what I want to do anyway. So yeah, I think it's got to be a balance.
Yeah, I mean, I know what my start. I guess in this conversation, I might come across one way.
Yeah.
Like, well, a bit one dimensional. But I know how I plan to deliver this, which will be,
and I mean,
you know what I mean,
we're
will be a
talking
more
very
acceptable
generally.
way.
Obviously, in true fashion, you've brought up your own situations.
Of course, man, have to.
We have to. Well, it's just part of
But
us
you know,
being so.
I'm telling you though, man,
it's part of us being so
yeah.
open with you guys. I guess that we're able to like talk about these things so personally. But generally speaking, I think more needs to be done. Schools are teaching stuff that we don't need to know. Forcing
and not
kids
teaching
to make
stuff that we do need to know,
and forcing us to make decisions on stuff that we don't need to make decisions on, like picking your GCSE subjects for A levels or picking A level or college subjects for uni, when more time you might not even use your degree. That's another conversation. But not teaching children about financial, not giving any financial literacy.
There's no
for example,
financial
no investment
literacy,
literacy, no survival skills literacy, like no how to apply for jobs, how to do a CV, how to do like those types of skills need to be given, as well as skills around your own personal safeguarding. That's the stuff that needs to be in the curriculum, I would say, alongside the parents being educated and the parents making sure that they're doing their due diligence, so long as they have the capacity to. Because let's remember, if you're in a single parent family, for example, and you're a working class family, and you're single parent, probably doesn't even, or they might not have family or a community that can help them with your child, with the childcare, and so it might mean that they have to take some risk in order to bring money into the home. So it's all fine and dandy and easy to say, and it's easy for us to make these plans because we don't fall into the working class category. So it's easy for us to talk about it as though, yeah, for me, this is what I'm going to do. But if you're in an adverse situation, it's not as easy. So yeah, there's a lot there to think about as well. But
yeah. Nah, yeah, I definitely hear that. But then even back in the day, people used to support each other more. Like neighbors would look after each other's children.
Yeah,
and
them
mind
days
them.
are gone. Them days are gone.
Yeah, that's what I mean though. That community safeguarding against badness is longer.
But even that to an extent, even that community safeguarding was dangerous as well, because like your neighbor could be moving mad, you don't know, and they're doing the whole "let me come and help you." So, and it's because of that fear that a lot of people have moved away from that fear, and of course, everyone wanting to go viral. Hence why you might see something on the street and everyone's got their phone like this.
Yeah,
because they want to get it on TikTok, they want to put it on Instagram, they want to be the one to do the expose. So the video goes viral for their 5 minutes of fame. as opposed to, no, this person's getting beat up, let me help them, or let me call the police, or let me do something to stop it. Back in the day, people used to step in because we didn't care about social media, we didn't care about viral likes and stuff like that. We didn't care about that. It was more community, we're more present in the situation. So, but the times have moved. That's not the time that we're in now. And there's pros and cons to that, and we just have to find ways to have community in what is left of community today. Community today is online community. How can we monopolize that for the right outcome?
I think
Yeah.
you saying about online community, but part of me feels like we need to really reestablish their physical community. Like that's how we need to monopolize. Because
I mean,
I feel like just in this episode, I'm reflecting on one thing from my past more than anything, which is this guy, the paedophile guy
the
that
guy,
I was,
yeah.
because he was known. Everybody knew him. Everybody would be like, "Oh yeah, you see, like I watch out for that guy," innit? But it was like bants, because we were all grown enough to be smart enough.
Yeah.
But I do remember like one of the last times that I saw this guy in the ends when I was walking was the first time I'd ever actually seen him have somebody with him. And he had this young boy with him. And I was like, at the time, I was like, I got him.
He was into young boys.
Oh no, he wasn't into young boys. He was a paedophile, like through and through.
He was into young boys, so he was a paedophile
Yeah.
for young.
Yeah, for young boys. Yeah. But it's only like as I reflect on it now that I'm like, I know what was happening. If you know what I mean. Like I know what was happening. In fact, everybody knew what was happening. Anybody could have saved that boy or stepped in, if you know what I mean. But no one did because we already knew, yeah, just don't, my man, don't do that. And then that's it, if you know what I mean. So I'm seeing him with this boy and I'm like, how did, like he's walking on the street. Like I already know from the proximity between them what is going on. But at the same time, it's able to happen. And this guy's walking around freely in the middle of Hackney.
Imagine if that child, like, so you said there was a time when he tried to approach you and tried to approach man like Venom, but Venom was like, nah, B, like I know who you are.
I'm like,
no, right. You did that as a young man, not your parents. Yeah. You did that. So
no, of course.
Do you know what I mean? So as much as like we want, like I agree with you, there should be more physical presence, but whether us old heads to an extent like it or not, there's a lot more online presence now. There's a lot more online community, and we kind of need to learn how to navigate that. As much as we want there to be more physical, real life, face to face community, and people can create those spaces, but fundamentally it doesn't take away from the fact that there is an online presence and a big growing online community right now. Like that's where everybody's at. And so that's that, putting that to the side, but also that what you're saying about that young boy, it's down to his own knowledge as well as an individual to kind of, okay, right now, okay, I've been given the freedom to go out, this person's approached me, what do I know about the situation? How can I get myself out of it in a safe way? How can I safeguard myself? Because there's no one to safeguard me right now. You know, so again, it's got to be collaborative, man. It's got to be a mixture of things to kind of reduce this thing from happening. Because as much as there's things that can be done to reduce it, these perpetrators, they're getting smarter. It's kind of like in the world of fraud. Like I work in the finance industry. In the world of fraud, back in the day, people used to just phone up and be like, "Oh, I'm calling from your bank." People wised up about that. So now people don't do that anymore. Now they think of weird and wonderful ways, like sending you a text message from what appears to be Royal Mail to tell you that something's in the thing.
Come collect this.
Come collect this, or pay for this stamp duty, this whatever fee. Or people are coming up with weird and wonderful ways to be fraudulent. It's the same thing with these predators, they'll find weird and wonderful ways to do what they need to do. I'm pretty sure people probably utilizing OnlyFans, TikTok.
Mm-hmm,
Do you know what I mean? And yeah, so you just got to keep evolving with the times and figuring out ways to safeguard as we move forward. The internet is unpoliced. That's the problem.
But you can't
And it's
police
been
it as
under
well.
it's been unpoliced since I was in uni, because in uni my degree was about the fact that it's unpoliced and it's not changed, and it's been how long, and I'm not going to explain how long
Yeah.
it's been, because as usual Dami's not ready to expose her age, but it's been a very long time. Very long time, at least a decade roughly.
I think we should put that as a topic, you know. Should the internet be policed?
Well, the answer to that is yes, but yeah, this is a big conversation, you
Yeah,
know,
that's why I'm not.
and we can, but I mean, we're not planning on ending the podcast anytime soon, so of course we'll come back to this, as there's other things we'll come back to, but this is something we can always dig a bit deeper. But yeah, I'm really happy that there's another documentary, guys. Please watch it if you haven't done so already. The link is in the description. Share it with people as well, get other people to watch it. You know, if you're not gonna like and subscribe, at least do that, because this is something that it doesn't affect us, or it doesn't just affect us, it affects the whole of our community, and it is something that it affects all young girls, all young boys. Like, any sort of predator behavior is something that we should all care about, to be honest. Unless you're, no, let me not say that, because it's something you should all care about if you're not that way inclined. Okay, so there's no harm in sharing it with other people, so that the message and the notion is out there.
Yes.
So I'm a big advocate for that. In the comments, let us know your opinion about some of the things that we spoke about. We didn't want to review or reshare what's in the documentary, because you can just watch the documentary, and we've already kind of spoken about our disgust for the allegations in the first place in the last episode. So get a VPN if you're in the UK, and if you're not in the UK, just go back and watch episode 25. But in terms of the themes that we've spoken about today, you know, the broadcasting company now admitting that they've had some complaints and they're going to look into that, and the stuff about the youth having freedom and all those things. Like, let us know what your comments are and your opinions are around some of those things, and if there's other things you want to bring to the table, by all means do so. Yeah.
I ain't got nothing to add. That was that rounded off this episode nicely.
But I'm gonna leave it to you to close off.
Well, if you're still with us, thank you very much for sticking around. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, in case you're not following us. And all our socials are at the bottom, the below, the comment section. Hit everything that you want to hit. Follow everything you want to follow. Make sure you watch this documentary if you haven't seen it, and share it with some people in the community or outside of the community, because we're trying to get this word out there that man's been doing wrong against our people, and we cannot stand for it. That's hard. So from myself and my home / Danny Zane, wishing you out, and man like Big Tobes, it's a big fat piece. Tobes needs a sign though. He definitely needs a sign.
Okay.
Peace. Toby, you need to learn how to do some kind of
Gonna train him
on command. Yeah, you need to train him to do, even if it's just a 2 paws up thing.